And I went out there and I was fuming. I was fuming about sort of doing it. I mean, players went out. It was summer and everyone else sort of was on holiday. And me and Alton were sent to Sweden to play. Like their season obviously was different.
So you thought you were starting the summer holidays?
It was summer holidays, yeah. Instead of that, I was going out to Sweden to play football.
How did you explain this to your dad? Do you come back from this meeting with Chris? And
yeah,
and
I'd always run everything past my dad. So like my dad was sort of like, you know.
Did he give you a choice?
No, not really. You don't get much of a choice at that age. You know, you're treated with not as much respect as a senior player, obviously. So yeah, it was made the case that I would go out there. Went out there, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it, really. Sweden's an interesting place.
But you didn't want to be out there. That's what you're saying.
Not really. Like, I wouldn't say like I didn't say, God, do you know where I need to go? The Swedish second division. It wasn't on my radar, really. But you know,
So when
it presented itself, and I went for it.
So Chris sits here, right? And he says to you, Crouchy, like, we're sending you away, right? Just explain how he breaks the news to you.
He's selling, you know, you've not had many games. Want to go out, you go out there, play, enjoy it, come back. It's a new experience. It's something, I mean, listen, I was living at home and travelling to Tottenham every day with my mum and dad and sister. So all of a sudden, like, they gave us a flat, they gave us a car. And it's the first time I'd ever sort of, it's like basically Sweden was my uni. Like for people out there that have been to university, I left home and I did my uni in Sweden. So I did everything that you do at uni.
Big question. How was Freshers?
Oh, awesome. There was one particular lad that really, really looked after us. As soon as we arrived, he said, oh, where are you staying? And I said, so-and-so flats. And he was like, whoa. And he had a name for it. It was basically the Swedish name for the ghetto in Sweden. That's where we were staying. For me, it was lovely. I thought it was like the flat. I thought it was really nice. And we had a little flat. But can you imagine like two sort of like 19-year-old like footballers in a flat in the middle of nowhere in Sweden, and it was a quiet little village. So we ended up just having to go out, and training wasn't till 4, sort of part time. So we trained every day, but we trained at 4 o'clock. So my first game, I can't remember. I think I played pretty poor, and then he pied me off to the reserves. And then you said about scoring 5 goals. I banged 5 in.
Was that after the traffic light party at Freshers?
Yeah, I mean, we went to Hot Shots on the Tuesday. No. I found it was different. Like football was different there. It was slower. It was more progressive. It wasn't like home, like more like sort of 100-mile-an-hour football. It was good football and it was different, and I learned quite a bit.
So are Tottenham not worried at all when they start getting reports that Peter Crouch and is out there enjoying the? He can sleep in. Training's not till 4, so you can go out to whatever time. You've got enough time to recover before training. I can see the little smile on your face right now, which suggests this is absolutely true. And then straight after training, you just head straight out. It's perfect, right?
Well, listen, we're 19 years old, right? And we've been thrown into a Swedish league, and we are in the summer, basically. We had a lot of fun, I'm not going to lie. I was fuming with Alton because he got a girlfriend after like 2 weeks.
That's a classic uni mistake, by the way. That's a bit like those people that go to uni in a relationship. It's statistically, Dave, you'll be able to tell
absolutely
if this
fails.
It
100%
fails.
of the time.
Like,
The early girlfriend shouts.
yeah.
It's a terrible shout. Alton knows he let himself down. I said to him, it was like we were having the time of our lives, right? First couple of weeks, time of our lives. The lads were good in the team. They were showing us where to go, places to go. We had so much fun. And all of a sudden, Camilla, her name was, I always remember it. He brought like Camilla home. I was like, right, strange one. And then let it slide. And then kept coming round. I'm like, he's going, we're gonna watch a film.
Oh no.
You are killing me here, son. So,
Who stepped up in the team? Who became the ultim?
I had a lad. I got his name now. It's killing me. Oh, I picture his face. Really annoying. He was a really good lad, but yeah. I mean, I ended up just. We were in such a weird play. Like it was really, really nice, beautiful place, but really quiet. So yeah.
So, was it like bars? Was it like nightclubs?
No.
What was it?
When I say it's basically the equivalent of being like you've got one nightclub maybe and the Red Lion. And there was an English pub called the Red Lion. I'm not gonna lie, I spent a lot of time in there. I did.
And Camilla wasn't invited to the Red Lion.
God.
I get the impression you.
She was a lovely girl though.
Was she?
Yeah, she was a lovely girl.
But annoying for you because
It's not ideal.
you
She
saw the wider
took
picture.
Took my wingman away.
Yeah, that's what they do. It's a classic Camilla move.
Why do they do that though? Can't they let
It's
us-
always a tricky situation with mates, isn't it? Where suddenly the girl, they start seeing someone and then it's just little steps, and they're there overnight and they maybe just hang around a bit in the morning. That's where it starts. Then there's breakfast and because it's all the exciting phase, it starts to happen a bit more. And then suddenly you notice there's an extra toothbrush. Camilla's toothbrush is there. And you're thinking, okay, well, I guess it makes sense. It's convenient and all, but
when they start phasing you out,
yeah.
How does that?
Camilla would have hated you
really, instantly
because you were a threat. If you think about it from Camilla's point of view, she's found a new love. She's turning up. She would have been saying, "Oh, your silly mate over there.
Yeah,
like you concentrate on your football
he's
and
slowing
me.
you down and stuff like that.
Yeah,
He's holding you back.
yeah." That would have been it. You think she's taken away your wingman, but at that point she was in there. Camilla was like that Peter Crouch in there, like silly boy. Silly boy, immature.
Red Lion till 6 a.m. On to the nightclub after that.
Yeah.
Doesn't see the sunlight anymore.
And you come back, he's not allowed to the pub. Camilla's there watching a film. They're doing their thing, watching a film. He's there on the sofa. He's realised he's in too deep.
Yeah.
There's no eject button.
Nothing he can do. And then was that the whole loan spell then? Was he effectively?
No, he came back.
Did he?
Came back
Stronger.
It was a point where he came back stronger.
That must have been an amazing time.
Oh, fantastic.
When your mate comes back.
We thought we'd lost him. Chumbawamba.
Come here, you.
I think
It's okay.
the beauty of your eyes then, Crouchy, when you just thought about that moment was incredible. It was like maybe the firstborn child type look.
You don't ever lose them.
Let's go to the pub.
Don't ever do that to me again.
Chris, usually I do all the research, but you've found someone that is really into Crouchy's time in Sweden.
Yeah, this is great, this. I've got the article here on this massive laptop. Just find it. Right, Crouchy, this is nuts, this. There's a few quotes from this guy that has covered your time whilst you were in Sweden. I've got questions for you, but I've also got questions for this guy because, what about you made him follow and track your career and then report back on it as a sort of young 19-year-old in Sweden? Like, it's odd, right?
So he's a Swedish journalist.
So sadly, I don't know his name.
What happens if this is Camilla?
Maybe it is.
Potentially is, yeah.
Let me read you some of this.
First thing is, Camilla's just in Sweden at the moment. She's pretty married. She's got a couple of kids. She's getting launched into this podcast.
The two youngsters went to Sweden during the spring, just as the Swedish season was kicking off. Thelwell had already made his first team debut and great things were expected of the defender, whereas Crouch was not expected to re-sign for Spurs once the loan period was over. The striker put on a poor show on his debut against Landskrona, so much so that manager Connie Olsen dropped him to the bench for the second game. A run in the reserves ensured the 19-year-old Crouch found his touch, though, with a 5-goal performance against Häcken. This it goes on, right? And this is what I want to talk to you about. Rumours abound that Crouch spent a lot of his non-football time drinking and enjoying what little nightlife the quiet town of Hässleholm offered. According to some reports, Crouch drank more beer than water during his time at the club.
I feel like
This is Camilla, isn't it?
hard.
This is all massively pro
Thirlwell and
Yeah.
anti-Crouch.
And-
It's Camilla, 100%. It's Camilla.